If you don't have enough data to make the decision, you're making the decision normally based around doubt and fear. And if you run your business from a place of doubt and fear versus strategy and insights, then you're going to be constantly chasing your tail and changing things without really knowing why things are working or not working.
Sophie, great to have you joining me here on the podcast today. You are the founder of Real Entrepreneur Women, and you talk about helping women become wealthy. What does wealthy mean to you?
Hi, Samantha. Thank you so much for having me here, and hello, listeners. To become a wealthy woman, to me, is all about being able to have choices. So coming from a corporate background where I was able to create wealth, I grew my career quite quickly, even though I grew up in a very small town with, 400 people and left school in year 11. I was still able to work hard and then build a career that paid me very well over a number of years. However, what I found is that I got to a point in my career where we wanted to have children. And all of a sudden, I had this beautiful little boy, Toby, and then I had to go back to work. And what I found is that we were living in Sydney, we live in Sydney now, and everyone around me had two corporate parents. And both the parents worked full time and the kids were in childcare or with a nanny. And so for me, that's what we did, right? We thought, great, because the income is great and you want to be able to establish and set yourself up, especially when you live in one of the most expensive cities of the world and come from a very small upbringing to be able to have this great career. But very quickly, I realized that I was missing out on the most important moments, like I missed Toby's first steps. And I came home one day and realized that my nanny had more mannerisms Toby had more mannerisms of his nanny than he does. So at that point, it kind of really redefined what I thought wealth was. I thought wealth was about money and stability and buying property and things like that. And so then but no one I knew had a business. No one I knew around me was running businesses. So that was really like the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, to try and work out, how can I use my skills that I have and how can I do meaningful work and still help people without having to sacrifice everything for me? And so that became my mission, to figure out, how do you do this? And now that I have figured out how to do this, it's become my mission to help others to become wealthy women, because I think women need choices. You need the financial independence because you want to be able to decide how you spend your life and who you spend your life with. And so having that financial independence to make those choices, whether, am I going to stay in this marriage? Am I going to stay in this relationship? What school am I going to send my kids to? But also, to be able to have the freedom of choice to be at the school pickups, be at the school drop-offs, and have that choice. So to me, to become wealthy woman it's choice. You can have financial freedom, but do you have time freedom? And do you have the choices to be able to live in alignment with you?
I love that so much, because when your child takes their first steps, that moment is gone. Once it's happened, it happens once and it never, ever happens again. And I think for me, becoming a mother, it helps you to see life in such a different way. The things that you thought were important before maybe aren't as important as what you thought that they were before that. The time is important, but we also do need money to not just pay the bills, but to live the life that we want to be living, because we're only here, this once on this planet. And as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure you agree, even just from hearing you speak so quickly, let's make it fun. With my clients, we call money fun tickets, because you can money brings you so much choice to do the things that you want. What was the career that you were in before you started your business?
I was working in change management, so leadership and career coaching within big Australian companies, so like Westpac, CBA, IAG. And for me, that was heaven. It was like I had reached the pinnacle of my career. I thought, something that I really wanted to do, and I worked really hard. I got on some great projects. I had some fabulous mentors, who were able to guide me at those critical paths. And I loved it, being able to help companies, big companies, create these strategies that would allow them to transform, whether it's, new systems rollout or restructures or offshoring or partnering or whatever it was, and then helping the people to be able to adopt those changes and the new way of working through training and communication and education. It was just like, I loved it. I loved it. I got to travel. And the biggest thing was being able to help people to realize that they can change, and that the companies can also realize the benefits around why they invested all these millions of dollars in the first place, because the people had adopted those changes and now they were able to get the return they were looking for. So it was very fun, with lots of crazy project stories that we still sometimes catch up on together.
I love that. The reason I asked is I think that there's a lot of people that want to leave their traditional career, let's call it, and go into business. And one of two things generally happens. Either they go into exactly the same career or industry. So, for example, you could have decided to become a consultant in change management or leadership, or they go into something different. And it's almost like they throw the baby out with the bathwater and feel like they're starting from scratch. How did you manage to bring all of those skills and all of that knowledge and experience that you had from that industry through into your business? And was it a really challenging time for you to see how it all matched together?
Yeah, in the beginning, I never saw myself as the business coach, right? I really had this whole hang up about being known as the business coach. Like, who am I? I've never run a business before, right? So that I really stuck with that. And I had to do a lot of mindset work to be able to move through it. And I had a mentor turn to me and just say, like, Sophie, you have 20 years experience in running businesses, in helping people to transform and learn skills and training. And I'm like, yeah. It's just like, just do that for a different niche, like restructure, like take what you're doing. And I was like, oh, and it was like this massive light bulb moment where I realized I didn't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I didn't have to go do something completely different or even retrain. It was knowing, how do you restructure the skills that you already have, but do it in a different industry or in a different way. And I think it's one of the biggest things that we love helping women with at Real Entrepreneur Women is realizing that you already are enough. Like, especially if you come from a career where you've led teams, or there's so many people, like they're the go-to person at work, to help, if they've got the problem, right? You already have the skills to help people. You just need to know, how do you structure that in a way that's highly valuable? And then how do you market and sell it?
Do you believe, either from your own experience or from the experience that you have with your clients, that you need someone to help you to kind of see those things that you can't see, like your coach helped you with? Yeah, I'm interested to hear your take on that.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Because we only know what we know.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that, sometimes we have people who come to us who've been trying to get their business together and hitting, $10,000 months and above for like 4 years. And the fastest path to success in any area of your life is to swipe a system, to get a mentor. You think about, if you want to lose weight, right? Get a trainer, get a nutritionist, get someone, like people who know all the different things for you to focus on, and then they can keep you accountable. Same in relationship, like we've had relationship counseling before, because you know what? Sometimes relationships are tough. I've been married for a long time, and you need someone that can come in and see what's going on and then cut through all of the bullshit and just be like, hey, this is the actual problem. We're like, oh. So it's the same in business. If you want to get a level of growth, or you want to know how to get started, just find someone who has the results that you're looking for and has worked with other people before, and most importantly, that you feel energetically connected to, because you would know, Samantha, not all business strategists out there like us are the same.
No, they are not.
And invest everything that you can, because one of the things that people don't realize is the cost of inaction. So there is a hidden cost of you actually trying to wing your business. So let's say your goal is to create a $10,000 a month coaching business, replace your corporate income. Every month that it takes you to figure out how to do that is costing you $10,000 of lost income.
Absolutely.
Especially if some women quit their job and then jump fully into a brand new business with no business experience. So now they've got the impact of the lost income from their career, plus every month that it takes them to earn that, to learn how to do it. So it's really costing them $20,000 a month. To invest in working with a mentor, it's going to cost you way less than $20,000 a month. And you'll have all the support, the step-by-step system to follow. So 100% the fastest. No one who's been successful ever got there alone.
No, 100%. Never a truer word has been spoken. I've got a saying that I often use, and I don't know where I first heard it. I have no idea, but I say it all the time, and that's you can't read the label from inside the jar. I think that as experts, we have such an expertise and we find a topic so easy to put together that our brain actually skips some of the steps, not as in we skip the steps and don't do them, but we don't even realize how easily we do something. And it's not until someone points it out, oh, you're doing this, this, and this. And you're like, oh my goodness, I actually am. I didn't realize that because it comes so easily. So I agree with you. Plus more. It's not just the lost income. It's having that extra set of eyes that points out how vast your IP and your experience and your knowledge is, and being able to amplify that and turn it into something that is really, really powerful.
Yeah. Understanding what your innate strengths are really important. And also as you grow your business, because that's going to help you to figure out, what areas of your business should you outsource or should you partner or reach, or get mentors for. So I think all of that kind of sits in very nicely together to make sure that you have that clear understanding around what your gaps are, how to plug them fast, but also what you're really great at that other people find very valuable, because they have no idea how to do the things that you do so easily, because you've built up those skills over years and years and years that you don't even think about them anymore.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you talk about attracting high quality clients. Something that I hear all the time is I can't find my people, or I'm attracting freebie seekers, all of these kinds of things. We all know what a high quality client is, because I'm sure most of us have had multiple of them. But for people that are listening right now, what can you help them to understand about attracting those high quality clients?
So firstly, I would say, are you a high quality client?
Oh, hang on. That's a mic drop moment just there. That right there. Are you a high quality client?
Are you a high quality client? Like, just sit on that and think about it for a moment. Would you buy you? And we attract who we are. So if you are feeling like everyone out there is broke, or you're attracting freebie seekers, are you attracting freebie seekers? Like, are you out there, not investing in yourself, and, you're waiting for your business to be at a certain level, and then maybe you'll go work with Samantha, or maybe then you'll go work with Sophie, right? Like, we are a mirror of who we attract. Energy attracts energy. So this is why we do so much mind and energy work with our clients, because it is everything. So that I always start with me. So if I am getting onto calls, I don't take calls with people anymore, but when we used to, my team do that now. But even with my team, if they're like, oh, everyone's coming, they're always broke, they're broke, they're broke. And I'm like, okay, well, what are you focusing on? And then when we unpack it, I can work out that my sales team, well, they're worried about their income. They're worried about, maybe they haven't made a sale for a few days. So now they're thinking, oh, am I going to meet my targets? So that dense energy around, making it about them, you're actually sending that out and you're going to attract it. So firstly is always about you and your energy and your belief. So if you've done that work though, okay, which by the way, it's not a tick in the box, I've done that work, I walked on once, I'm good. It's
totally.
Now, as you're doing that though, the other part you really want to look at is your message, because sometimes we adjust our message, and it's our message that we put online, whether it's in a video or a post or an email, or if you're at a networking event or whatever it is that you're doing to get in front of, or try and get in front of people, your message will attract. So as an example, years ago, I found that we were attracting a lot of people who were really beginners, like really, really beginners. By the way, we still work with a lot of beginners, but I just found like that's all that we were attracting. And then when I went back over and reread over our ads, everything was about when I started and when I was leaving my job. And so through that message, I'm relating and connecting with someone who's at that point in their career. So you need to look over your message and have a look. Is there anything in there where you're talking about when you were broke or when things were really tough, or, what you were struggling with, versus sharing like the breakthrough that was required, right? So what was the transformation that you had to go through in order to get to the other side? So it comes down to the messaging as well, and your mind and your energy has to be in full alignment with the value of your offer. So if you're doubting that the offer that you've created isn't worth the investment number that you put on it, then you just got to start there, right? Some people think it's basic. It's not. It's the foundation. Everything starts with your belief, your energy, and then from there you put your message out to attract.
I love that so much. When you're talking about, you just talked about then like your copy in your ads being aimed at those beginner people. How is it, or how did you, or what tips can you give people on really getting clear on who that ideal client is so you can speak directly to them? Because it's very easy to even make a 1% shift and end up somewhere completely different.
Yeah. It really is.
The $1 million question, right?
I mean, most people don't want to hear this, but you have to test. You have to have resilience in business, and you have to try things. And when I say try things, when I want to try a new strategy or I want to test something out, and I always test things out before I ever teach them, because I'm so about focus on one thing. You've got to give something a really good go to be able to validate whether it works or not. So as an example, if you're running an ad or you're running a funnel or you're at the earlier stage and you're still, getting your organic kind of content up to bring in clients, you have to make sure that you're following a strategy that allows you, one, to grow your audience. So you have to be in front of enough people. Okay, you can't just launch your business and start putting posts up and then say, oh, my message is off or whatever. Like, you have to be focused on lead generation. So there's heaps of ways that you can do it. You have to make sure that you're in front of enough people who are seeing your message to validate that your message might need some adjustment. So if you're running paid ads, like, we always do it based on a minimum of 100 opt-ins. So we wait till we get to 100 opt-ins and then we see what the stats tell us, right? Because if you don't have enough data to make the decision, you're making the decision normally based around doubt and fear. And if you run your business from a place of doubt and fear versus strategy and insights, then you're going to be constantly chasing your tail and changing things without really knowing why things are working or not working.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I think that there's so many people that are really understand their energy and, they're led from the heart, that are so, or have a visceral feeling towards, let's put it in quotation marks, bro marketers, that they actually don't take any data on at all. But we have to wind up somewhere in the middle. Like, we have to really feel into what feels right and go with our gut. But we also need to look at the data as well. And when we can find that happy medium somewhere in the middle, that's when things really, really take off. That's my belief.
Yeah, and this is why it's important. Like, if you're not an analytical person, and let's be frank, I was never an analytical person. My husband's a financial planner, so he was always like, I remember when we first got together, he was helping me understand budgets and stuff because I never went to school. I never finished. So it's something that I've had to learn, and I definitely not wanted to, right? I'm like, oh, it will just take care of itself. It will take care of itself. But you can't run a business like that, because business needs income and you need investment. And so you need to make sure that when you do invest in your business, whether it's time or money, that you can see the return on it. So even if it's not money that you're investing and it's time that you're investing, you need to, time is the biggest, like, most valuable commodity, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you're investing, 20, 30 hours a week into your business, and you're not getting the return, and the return is clients saying, yes, here's my credit card, I want to pay in full, then something is broken. And so you want to make sure that what you're investing in your time, you're actually getting a return on that. It's not always about investing money to get the return. And that's where, if you work with a mentor, if this isn't an area that you're really great at, but you work with a mentor who has some simple systems, just to help you monitor and track so you can see, okay, I'll break it down. Every day I'm going to do these 3 things consistently, just these 3 things, and I'm going to track them, and I'm going to see how over time that helps me build momentum, or that should be able to like highlight exactly where your things are broken. So if it's like, if people are booking calls but they're not saying yes, there's something happening on the call. If no one's booking calls, right, well then it's not the problem. You don't have to worry about your sales script right now. You need to worry about how you're having conversations with people. No one's engaging on your content. You need to make sure that you've either got you're building your leads, so you're getting in front of enough people through your organic finding people, or it's your content. Like, your business will tell you exactly where the problem is if you set it up right. And it makes it very easy for you then to focus in and go, okay, I'm going to focus on this. This is the area I need help. Okay, who can help me with this if it's not your area? But number tracking is good, but you don't need to go over the top and have like endless spreadsheets and stuff, because I don't know about you, but I ain't got time for that.
God, I've never met a coach that's like, let's just have another spreadsheet. Like, it just doesn't happen. All right. So,
well, in saying that, you can run your coaching business to 100K months on Google Sheets.
100%.
Right. I saw this post this morning and someone's like looking for a CRM, and I can't remember what type of coach they were. And everyone's like recommending, like HubSpot and stuff, which we use HubSpot, but we're doing a lot, right? And I was just like, unless you're over 100K a month, just keep it simple and go focus on income producing activities instead and use Google Sheets. And I bet you're like, no. It's like, let go of the ego of having to have all these amazing systems. Just keep it simple and learn the skills that will actually bring you revenue and clients, because that's why you're in business, right? For money and to help people.
100%, 100%. Now, you talked about things being broken, and one of the things you were talking about was not being able to sign clients, and a lot of that is messaging. One of the other things, I can't think of a better word, that I see a problem here is actually not having your package put together properly. And what I mean by properly is so that it's actually attracting the right people or attractive to the right people. What tips can you give or insights around packaging your offer?
This is really important. It reminds me of a client that we used to work with, and I know her personally, and she is so talented. So I was really surprised when she was struggling to get clients, right? Because we have a system that works for heaps of people. But she's great. And I was like, she's a smart woman. She's, really friendly. Her marketing looks good. And when I got into it, I was like, can I ask you a question? She's like, yeah. I go, do you actually believe in what you're doing? Like the offer that you've got, that you can really help people with this? And she's like, and I was like, that's the problem. I said, you are energetically, and I can't see what she's doing behind the scenes. So energetically and most likely through her actions, sabotaging yourself. You actually are scared to have that sales conversation, because what if they say yes? Because you aren't sure if you are enough and if you can deliver on that offer. So once we restructured her offer, right, and we found, like we were talking about before, where you're able to go through that process and realize that you have all of these skills and have been doing these for a decade or more. Let's take those skills and let's position it in front of an audience that you feel more aligned with, like that you really want to work with. And in the beginning, I would just say, keep it simple. Like, some people think they've got to go build like a signature course and they've got to have all this stuff done before they start marketing and selling. Whereas one of the things that I teach is like, build it out with the client. So go sell like a beta group, do like a smaller, let's say you want to create a 3-month program, just go do a 6-week beta test group for 5 people. And don't discount massively, but position it so it looks like they're getting a discount. Like if it's going to be, $5,000 or something, offer it to them at 3.5 or something, but run it as a beta group and test, right? Test the offer, test that it is aligned with, what people actually want. Because that's the other thing, when people go away and they spend lots of time building out a course and a program, and then they go and sell it, they start working with people, or even before they work with people, and it's like they haven't validated that that's actually what people want. So my Wealthy Woman Mastermind that we have now, running this is our 6th year, okay? And it looks nothing like it did in the beginning, right? In the beginning, I started with 6 modules that I was going to do. I delivered them live every 2 weeks, and I had a group of 8 that we launched with. Whereas now it's like, it's a full curriculum with swipe files, templates. We've got coaches, we've got AI, we've got, 5 classes a week. Like it's morphed. But I think sometimes people get so thinking that they have to have something that's like that to be able to compete. You don't. So I would just say keep it simple, align it with what you really want. And from a niche perspective, the riches still are in the niches. Right? Unless you have a massive name, right? And you can have a very broad niche like Tony Robbins. We'll just talk about Tony before. But being able to have a specific niche with a specific problem and a specific solution. Just simplify it down to those 3 things. Test it with a beta group. Make it a couple of thousand for like a 6 weeks. And then go out to your warm market and let them build the hype around this is what I'm doing. So I'm doing, this is the transformation. It's a ridiculous offer. Don't put your prices anywhere. Put some posts up, get people to comment if they're excited and they want to hear more, reach out. And then you need to know how to sell. Like sales is not something you can fluke. Like you can fluke it if you're going to sell a hand cream, right? But if you want to sell a $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, $25,000 package, you need to know the strategy that sits behind how to have those conversations in a soul-aligned way so that you can leave your money story out the door and just show up for that person, help them have a transformation and go do the work that you want to do. So everything comes down to the offer. Even if someone comes to me and they've been working as a coach for years, we go back to the offer because there's always gaps. They're normally overgiving, undercharging, doing way too many one-on-ones. They're burnt out. So restructure and then go from there.
Love that so much. Let's talk about pricing because this is something that so many people struggle with. From what I've personally seen, people either massively, and this is the majority of people, they massively undercharge. What are your tips when people come to you about how to price? Because I'm sure I'm not the only coach that gets, how do I price this?
Yeah, it's something we train out, right? So it's very much understanding where you are in your journey and in your money growth. So we do a lot of money mindset work because really it comes down to the value of what you think that you're worth. Right? What are your skills worth? What are your information worth? What is your knowledge worth? And so if you're new to doing mindset work, then you might need to focus on a bit there. We recommend that coaches create packages from $2,500 and above. Coaches aren't a time-based service model. It's not like you're working at, Coles or Woolies and it's how many items can you scan in an hour and they work out what the value is of your time. Coaches bring transformation to the table. They bring years of life experience, of training, different modalities. And in that one conversation or in that one training, are able to shortcut a path that people cannot see. Like I said, with marriage, like someone that we saw years ago, it was like, wow. And in 1 hour, it was just like, we've been fighting for years over something. Like that person was able to solve that in 1 hour. What is the value of that? Of us not like, we should get divorced, or what's that impact going to be on the house and splitting all of our assets. So you really need to understand the value, and it's not the value of the time, it's the value of the transformation that you can support your clients having. And also, what is the path? If your clients don't work with you, what does that path look like? So for instance, if clients don't come work with us, they're like, oh, now's not the right time, or they're not ready, or it's too much, or I have to talk to my husband, he's not on board, all of the stuff. I'm like, damn, girl, because 6 months from now, you're going to be in the same situation or worse.
Probably worse.
Right? So what's the cost of that? I bet you the cost of that is way more than the small investment to work with us to get this sorted. So you've really got to lean into understanding not only the value of the transformation, not your time, the value of the transformation, and also the value, well, what happens if they don't do this? What is the cost of inaction to the client? Right? Like as in a marriage, divorce, split assets, kids living in separate homes, like that is huge versus like working with a relationship coach for $5,000. Are you kidding? That is cheap.
Yeah, right.
It is so cheap. Keep your marriage to and this is where understanding value is what is most important when it comes to pricing. Okay, we're not pricing based on what everyone else is selling hand cream for. We're not looking around at what people have put up on their websites, because people have put prices all over their website. Sorry, I don't know if that's what you teach. But it's like, if you put prices all over your website, you're going to attract people who want to buy based on price versus based on value. So learning how to price yourself based on value is really, really important. So if you're a beginner and you're doing one-on-one coaching, great. You're going to cut your teeth and you're going to really like get in there, and like you'll start to, over a period of time, realize there's types of clients you want to work with, types you don't. You'll be able to adjust like what they really need. And you'll probably start, I would recommend anywhere from around the 250 an hour, right? And then build up. Whereas, if you've already been doing what you're going to help, you don't have to be doing it as a coach though, but if you already have the experience, whether life experience or career, or then, create a hybrid model where you've got some group coaching, some curriculum, some one-on-one for activation points, keep them accountable, and then, put a $5,000, $10,000 price tag on that, because that container, the transformation they're going to have is going to be massive.
Absolutely. I love this so much. Now, you have got a quiz, I believe, that helps people to figure out kind of where they are and everything that we've talked about today. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, the coaching growth quiz. I was so excited when we created this. It's been something I wanted to create for a while. And so what it does is it allows you to take a really simple quiz, like an assessment. And then from that, you're going to get a response that tells you what stage of coaching business you're in. And it's really important that you understand it. Sometimes I have people who come to me and maybe they've had like a couple of clients, and then they think that scale is what they should be focusing on, running paid ads and hiring a team. And it's not, right? So, and what happens, I had this one client, she came to me, she had invested $180,000 in an agency to help her to get online and get clients and set up her funnels and everything. She did not have one client before working with them, and she did not get one client working with them.
Oh, whoa.
They took on someone at that level in a scale strategy who didn't even have proof of concept or any consistency or any systems or processes. So I was shocked, and I couldn't believe, one, ethically they took her on and then they kept her on even though she had no results. But two, that women are being sold into these strategies that actually they don't need. Most people don't need a scaling strategy if they just want to replace their corporate income. So there's 4 stages of growth. So you'll get allocated what your growth stage is. Through that, you'll also learn what are the most common things, like what are the common things that you want to avoid, or what's the mindset challenges at that level, so you can start to build your awareness around, okay, this is because I'm at this stage. And then most importantly, what are the next steps? What are the actions? What are the things that you need to do at that level in order to progress to the next level? So yeah, it's very cool. It's taken quite a while for us to pull it together, but hopefully, your listeners can get it and they can really get, because I'm a big believer that once you have clarity, right, and you can see and you can stop all of the shiny, I should do this and I should write a book and I should do this and I should launch a website and funnels sound good and I'm going to be a public speaker. And you're just singling your focus to what's the core things I need to focus on. Invest on those things, get mentors on those things, let everything else go, and then watch your business grow. I work 22 hours a week and I've grown multiple 7-figure business. I'm at every school event. I get to do whatever I like, take my family overseas, renovated my whole house, and I have helped thousands of people because I'm really good at just focusing in on the most important things. So hopefully that growth quiz gives people the clarity, because once you have clarity comes confidence.
100%. Yes. And procrastination is just not understanding what's next. When you have a clear idea of just what's the next thing to do, that creates momentum and action, or action and momentum in that order. We will pop the link for that in the show notes below, wherever you're listening to this episode, so that you can get a copy of, or get the link to the quiz so you can go through that and discover what your next steps are. Sophie, this has been such a great conversation with you. To finish this episode in a beautiful little bow, or put a bow on it, what is one thing that you want to leave listeners with today?
I think the pathway to everything that you want and the key to that sits within you. So it wasn't easy for me to decide to change a career and start a business. It wasn't easy for me when I had my 0 month after investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in my business. But at the core of everything is the belief inside yourself that you are worthy and that you are deserving and that you can do this. And in those moments of, holy shit, this is not working, I feel like a failure, what have I done? I have this mantra, and I'm going to leave it with you. And if anyone wants to adopt it, adopt it. And it's, everyone loves a good comeback story.
I love that so much. Thank you so much for everything that you shared today, your wisdom, your guidance, your inspiration. I'm wishing you a fabulous year ahead.
Thank you so much.